just watched a few videos on IFL TV, interviews with Big John Fury, who's Tyson Fury's dad, and Billy Joe Saunders, and also an interview with Tyson Fury and Billy Joe Saunders. And I think, they just seem a bit frustrated with the fact, and I've said this on previous posts, that Anthony Joshua is getting, all this love and adoration from the British fans. Now, if you think about Anthony Joshua, he, I've said it on a previous post, he's won the MBE, he won gold in the Olympics, albeit people were saying there were some fights he didn't win, and he's had 15 fights and he's heavyweight champion of the world. Now, in all honesty, Anthony Joshua, fair play to him. He's just beating whoever they put in front of him. Let's not forget that Anthony Joshua was given the opportunity to fight for the title by Charles Martin. And I've said this on a previous occasion. He was given the opportunity by Martin. Martin couldn't fight Klitschko. Klitschko's tied up to fight Fury, and Fury can't fight him either. Deontay Wilder can't fight him. So he's come over, he's picked out Anthony Joshua. He's got something like 8 million for the fight. So you can't really, blame him for doing that. And I think Big John, because he is big fella, Big John Fury was saying that, it was a disgrace of a heavyweight fight, because here we have Charles Martin, and he didn't last, 2 rounds? He got knocked down, and it was a joke of a fight. And he feels a bit hard done by, because we've got Tyson Fury, who was stripped of the title for failing to face his mandatory, and he was stripped of the title. Now, the IBF did allow for Charles Martin, I'm hearing, and I've just heard it through the grapevine, maybe you guys can confirm, that he could defend the title for a year or so, or something like that, before he faced the mandatory, or something along their lines. So the IBF, from what I heard, were willing to let Charles Martin keep the title for a little bit longer. Yet with Tyson Fury, they said, right, you haven't fought the mandatory, and we're stripping you of the title. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, then correct me on that, and that's good for me to know. But I can understand what John Fury is saying about the whole, Charles Martin come over and he didn't put up a good fight, and it was a terrible fight. And if you think about it, he didn't look like he was knocked out on the canvas. He was very fully conscious and aware. He could hear the referee's count. He got up knowing that he'd missed the count, and he was looking at the referee like, why have you counted me out? He could clearly hear. He wasn't flat out unconscious on the floor. So to me, it looked like he just came for the money. If you think back in retrospect, I think he came for the money, because that was the only big money fight. He's come to the Lions Den, and he literally said, you know what? I'm not saying he threw the fight. I'm not suggesting that, but what I'm saying is it looked like he could have stood up. Maybe he felt Joshua's power and thought, you know what, maybe I can't beat this dude. Or maybe he thought, you know what, I'm just going to give up the title. I've been paid 8 million, and I'm just going to lay down and just give the title away. So I can understand Big John Fury's frustration, because here you have Anthony Joshua getting a lot of love and respect, and Tyson Fury not getting as much respect as Anthony Joshua. And John Fury was saying, we've come all the way down here, we've driven all the way up here, 5 hours in traffic, and the reporters are just asking ridiculous questions, and they're not taking my son seriously. And my Tyson is the man who beat the man. He beat Vladimir Klitschko, and it's true. A lot of people can say, well, who did Tyson fight before he fought Klitschko? That's irrelevant. He worked himself up to a mandatory position. He fought Vladimir Klitschko, and he done the impossible. He did what many others couldn't do, and he won the title. So he is the man, because he beat the man. And I can understand why Big John Fury is a bit disappointed about that. And he also mentioned Billy Joe Saunders not getting as much respect as a world title holder, as a world champion. And he suggested that maybe it was because they come from the traveling community, and the general public have this view of people in the traveling community, how they're troublesome, or they're not good people, or they're scum of the earth, whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's what people view. Some people view them as, calling them pikeys and stuff like that. And he's saying that the reason why Tyson Fury doesn't get the respect and Billy Joe Saunders don't get the respect they deserve is because they come from the traveling community. And maybe he's got a point. But I mean, if you judge the two men on their personalities, okay, if you look at someone like Anthony Joshua, he just seems like a genuinely chilled and laid back guy. I don't think he's a puppet on a string like Big John Fury suggests. He's saying, he's a puppet on a string, he's a yes man, and Tyson Fury is not a yes man. And I agree with him there. You've got two different characters. Tyson Fury is outspoken, he's brash, he's very confident, he says what's on his mind, and that's just him. But I also think that Anthony Joshua is just a chilled out guy. I don't think that he's this puppet on a string and he does what he says. Could be behind the scenes. Maybe that could be there's somebody else, there's a driving force behind him, and that's making him just seem not very controversial and just very mild-mannered and just very humbled and very chilled. But I mean, it just depends. I mean, maybe Anthony Joshua is very much aware of his position. MBE, amateur, and now world champion, and I want to set a good example. And maybe that's the stance he's taking, and you can't really blame him for that, because me as an individual, I'll take me for example, if I was a boxer, if I was a champion, that's the stance that I would take. I'm not brash as an individual, as a person anyway. I don't like to argue, I don't like to brag. I'm just quiet and just get on with it. And I think Anthony Joshua might be like that as a person. He just doesn't say much, and he's just trying to be positive, and that's the stance he's chosen to take. It's not that he's a puppet on a string, he's just maybe like that, So I don't think that he's just a yes man. So I don't think John Fury is necessarily right in that respect, but I can see where he's coming from. I mean, because you can't disrespect Tyson Fury or not give him the respect he deserves because he's outspoken. He's allowed to say what he wants. In some cases, he's saying things that many people think but are afraid to say. So you can't say Tyson Fury is a wrong'un because he says certain things. He has his opinions, and in my opinion, he's entitled to an opinion. He can say what he wants, Okay, fair enough. Some of the things he said about homosexuals, paedophilia, stuff like that, I could see how people are or can get offended about things like that. But at the end of the day, he's just speaking his mind, and you can't ridicule him or give him a lack of respect for not speaking his mind, or for speaking his mind. So I think that does Tyson Fury get a lack of respect? I believe he does. I think maybe people just don't take him seriously. I mean, if you think about it, if you look back in history, you look at Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was well loved. Sorry, no, he wasn't liked. It's only till later on in his career that people grew to like him. But early on in his career, people didn't like him because he was brash, he was confident, he was anti-establishment, he was a Muslim, part of the Nation of Islam at the time, and they were a threat to white America, and however you want to phrase it. But he was someone who was, people didn't like, and they liked the traditional Joe Louis type fighter, the one who was mild-mannered and just fought in the army, donated his fight winnings to the military and so on. And history will tell you that the establishment like that. They want a poster child, don't they? They want somebody who's going to be a good role model. But, Billy Joe Saunders says something quite important, and I think it was a really good point to make. And he said, okay, you talk about role models, but Tyson Fury has never been arrested. Okay. Anthony Joshua, I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying, on the face of it, Anthony Joshua's had a bad past. Okay. And he may have changed his life around, and that's great. And he's achieved a lot. But if you think about it, Tyson Fury hasn't been arrested. Okay. He's boxed. He trains hard. He works hard. He fought. He got himself into a mandatory position. He went to the Lions Den, went to Germany, beat Vladimir Klitschko in his hometown, on his home ground, and took the belts away. So why shouldn't he be considered a role model just for that? You talk about hard work, dedication, but surely you've got to give Tyson Fury some props for the hard work and dedication, and Billy Joe Saunders for that matter, they put in to get where they are today. So surely you've got to give them respect for that. But I think the media just doesn't take to Tyson because he's very outspoken. But a lot's being said about, Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn by Tyson Fury and, the Furies and Billy Joe Saunders. And I'll be interested to see what Anthony Joshua's response is to that, if he ever does make a response. But I can understand the point that they're making about, not getting the respect. And I just watched the interviews. None of what I say is scripted. It's just off the dome. So if there's anything that, you think I've missed, or something that you think I should mention, or if you think that I'm talking a load of rubbish because of X, Y, and Z reasons, then feel free to comment in the section below. But I think, to summarize, I think I've got to respect Tyson Fury for what he's achieved in boxing, and I respect Anthony Joshua for what he's achieved in boxing. And I can understand John Fury's frustration, because Tyson is the man who beat the man and he doesn't get enough respect. But I think that boils down to the fact that Anthony Joshua is just this chilled out guy that is just seems to be looks like a better role model because of how he conducts himself, how he acts. He's very well liked, very well mannered, very polite, and I think that might be the defining factor. But I think you've got to respect Tyson Fury for what he's achieved. He is more or less the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and credit where credit's due. And I personally think maybe he should try and put together some public appearances. I mean, think about it. Some in the old days when you won the heavyweight championship, you came home to a hero's welcome, and maybe he should do something like a public appearance, maybe a meet and greet, something for the kids. Just get out there, do something. I don't know if they're the type of people that are going to do that. I don't think they're fishing for respect or they want to be false, but maybe they should just do something along those lines. Maybe it might help them, but I don't know if they would look at that as a sellout option. Maybe they would, and I don't think for that reason they would do something like that. But I think it would be good. If you take all the politics out of it, it'll be nice for the fans, for his fans. I'm sure he's got a big fan base who would like to come and meet him, and it'll be good. So that's just a suggestion anyway. But either way, these fights have to happen. In the heavyweight division, it's looking very, very good for British boxing, because we've got David Haye, we've got Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury in the mix. Now, Tyson Fury has already expressed that he will not be fighting David Haye because he let him down twice. But I think the Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury is building up nicely, and I think I would like it to happen. And the thing is, even with Tyson Fury, I mean, look, win, lose or draw their next fights, we all want to see, regardless, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, Anthony Joshua versus David Haye, David Haye versus Tyson Fury. We want to see those fights. So let's just hope those fights get made. Something to look forward to. I just wanted to make a post about the recent Tyson Fury comments that I've seen on IFL TV. Let me know your comments in the section below, and please subscribe. Thanks for listening.